scams and exactly about the 6 most common rental scams in the Czech Republic or in Prague. And I've done a short video about this topic. So if you prefer condensed information, go to my shorts and it's one of the latest videos there. If you prefer a bit more details, stay with me. So, we've been working in immigration and relocation for 14 years, and I don't know how many of you know that, but we actually started with real estate first. Then we added all the other services we provide, like visa assistance, health insurance, business license, all this, but we started with accommodation. So we have like 14 years of experience, and during those 14 years, we've seen so many like scams and problems, and we've seen scammers evolving and creating more elaborate scams. So I will take you through the 6 most common ones now. So number 1, that's that's an evergreen, and it sounds very, very stupid, but still people fall for it for various reasons, and that's paying some kind of deposit before you see the actual apartment. It might sound very stupid, like how could ever anyone fall for it? That if you pay someone before they show you the apartment, that's like clear scam, but it still happens. And there are a couple of reasons for that. I would say combination of 2 main reasons. One is that people are desperate, because the rental market is difficult in the Czech Republic and especially in Prague. You don't have that many options, and if you see a flat, someone else takes it before you make your mind, and it's kind of very competitive. So sometimes, especially if you have something weird, let's say, in your requirements, for a lack of better word. So for example, if your budget is below the standard on the market, or if you want to find a flat only for 2 months instead of 6 months or longer, or if you have something which is unusual, then it might be very difficult to find a flat in the Czech Republic. And so you try to use every possible small chance that you have. If someone tells you, yeah, I really like you, I will give you this apartment, I just need you to send me like 200 euros for a deposit so I can ship you the keys, you are kind of sure it's a scam, but since it's the only offer you've got, you do that. So I think that's one reason. Second is that this is the part where scammers have really developed in the last years, because when they started with that, it was obvious that it was scam from the first message. It was different with the internet because people were not used to scammers that much, so it kind of worked for some people still, but it was very clear that this kind of setup was a scam. Now, scammers have more experience, more kind of resources in terms of how many people they have already scammed. So they have the experience, they have your ID and your passports, all these kind of things. So they also make it sound way more realistic, because they don't try to scam you in the very first message. They will often speak with you like if they were real landlords. So there is usually some touchy story behind that, like, I bought the apartment for my daughter and she got pregnant, so she moved back to me, to Switzerland or the Netherlands or wherever. And I just want to have someone nice in the apartment. But instead of going into like, I like you right away after the first email, then they will ask you some questions. They would tell you, okay, so tell me a bit about you, because I want to have someone nice in the apartment. So tell me how you take care of the apartment, which is kind of like a legit question a landlord would ask. So it builds kind of trust. And they would often also send you their ID, their passport, proving that they are a real person, and counting with you not being able to check the land registry, so that you will not be able to see that the apartment is not actually owned by this person. Regardless of that, it's not their ID anyway. That's just an ID they stole from someone else who was scammed before. But they try to make it like very realistic. They would exchange a couple emails with you where they ask you questions before they actually try to scam you. So I think a combination of these 2 reasons still makes it kind of an existing scam. So obviously don't send anyone any money before you see the apartment. That's kind of, I cannot say it any more clearly. Just keep it in mind. Don't do anything stupid. Second, fake listings. It still exists as well. If you go to the major websites like S-Reality or Bezrealitky, they find fake listings pretty swiftly, but there are still some, and pretty swiftly can mean anything from like minutes to hours. I would say it usually doesn't take more than a day or two. So it's not like it will be there for 2 weeks or something, as it is on Facebook, for example, which is, I don't know how Facebook exists, guys. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so it's usually gone within hours or maybe like 2 days maximum, but it's still there. And if it's just posted when you see it, you can potentially get scammed there as well. But generally, they try to get as many people as possible to click on it, contact them, fill in the form, so they get your contacts, and that it can be potentially the same story as I mentioned before in number one. They just need as many people as possible to contact them. So they need to make the apartment very appealing to people. What it usually means is that it's a beautiful apartment, like above average, beautiful, and the price is below average. So usually it's a very nice apartment for a wonderful price. And as the old saying goes, if it looks too good to be true, it is too good to be true. So yeah, if you see a flat, you've been going through the advertisements for days or weeks, and then something appears which is like amazing. You really like it, it's very cheap. Yeah, that's not like the opportunity you were waiting for. That's a scammer waiting for you to get in touch with them. So be careful there as well. Now, my favorite. I have two favorites in this list, and this is first of them. Renting an atelier. Okay, or any other like variation of that. Basically, a flat that is not a flat. It might also sound stupid if you haven't watched any of my videos before, or this is your first time like thinking or hearing about scams in the Czech Republic. But the thing is that there is an official database of all properties in the Czech Republic, literally everything, from flats to offices to cellars to parking spaces, garages, everything, because everything must be approved before it's built. It must be approved by some governmental body. And so there is this big database of everything that's ever been built in the Czech Republic from, I don't know, like 200 years back or whatever. And each of the properties must fall under some category based on some requirements. So for example, flats must have at least some amount of square meters. Flats must have at least some amount of sunlight going into the apartment through the windows. Apartments must be insulated in some specific way. So for example, the walls cannot be thinner than some amount of centimeters. And there are things like this. And if you want to build an apartment, you must fulfill all these requirements. If you don't fulfill all the aquariums, what the fuck, all the requirements, then you cannot register the property as a flat, but you have to register it as something else. So in most cases, that's something called atelier in Czech and in the Czech Republic. And this means that officially the place is not meant for living. So if you rent it, which is kind of partially illegal anyway, it's legal now, but you can get fined for living there and your landlord can get fined for renting it out to you. So it's kind of like very weird situation. But the thing is that officially it's not meant for living. So you cannot live there and you cannot use the lease agreement for any official purposes. So if you need it for your visa application or your registration certificate or whatever, or just any official purposes, you will very likely not be able to use that. And the problem here is that many real estate agents will not even tell you that it's this. And some of them will just not mention it unless you ask. And some of them will straight like with straight face tell you, no, that's completely okay, you can live there, that's not gonna be a problem. Either they are stupid, or like they are not doing their jobs well, or they are just like straight out lying to you, because you cannot officially live in a space which is not suitable for living. So be careful with this. Yeah, obviously it's kind of difficult if you're a foreigner to check all this to make sure who's the owner and if the flat is really a flat. But yeah, that's why companies like Move to Prague exist, so we can do it on your behalf and you don't risk anything. Anyway, number 4, incomplete listings. That's not necessarily a scam, but it's something specific which you should keep in mind if you're using the biggest websites like S-Reality. Because if you go there and you go to the English version of the site, some of the listings are completely fine, but some of the listings will only mention like almost nothing about the apartment, just whatever the agent must fill in, otherwise they would not be able to save the listing, but they will not add any additional information, which might make a couple things, might mean a couple things, that for example you don't know when exactly it is available, you don't have the details, like how, whatever, you don't have some of the details, but the main thing usually there is that they only list the base rent. So if you see the number, you might think, okay, this is amazing, it's like a very cheap apartment, yeah, I want to see it, I want to like get it. But then if you arrange the appointment, go there, then you find out, okay, so this is the base rent, this is the electricity, which is an extra 2,000, then gas, extra 3,000, then there are common charges for the building, which is 2,000 per person, and then you have to pay internet, and like from 18,000 crowns, it goes up to 25, which is above your budget, for example. So usually what I recommend is to switch from, like, you can search in English because it's easier, obviously, but then once you find apartments you like, if there is not enough details about the apartment in the English version, just switch to Czech and you will see all the details. Then you can Google translate it, but you will have all the important details. So not necessarily a scam, but definitely something that could make your life when looking for apartments in Prague more complicated. Number 5. I've done another video about that as well, and that's also my favorite, and that is sublease agreement. That's becoming way more popular now than it used to be before, and it's getting popular for various different reasons. But I've done a short video about this topic specifically, so if you want to like learn more about it, find the video in my shorts. Again, it's a couple days back. But the main idea is that if you sign an agreement directly with the owner of the flat, you have a lease agreement, and tenants in the Czech Republic are very, 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 very well protected. I would say even overprotected, because if you're a flat owner and your tenant is not paying, for example, for the apartment, he hasn't paid 3 rents, for example, you can only, after 3 unpaid rents, you can start taking some steps to get them out of the apartment, which is crazy, you know, for me. Great for tenants, but yeah, it's just stupid. If you imagine that, I don't know, you have a mortgage for the apartment, you have to pay like 20,000 crowns for an apartment, and you do it because you know that you will be renting it out for 25, so there should be some, you should earn some money, and that's good. And then people just decide not to pay you for 3 months, and before you can kick them out, it will be like six months of debt. Not good. But the point is that for you as for tenant, it's pretty good. You're very, very well protected. But if you don't sign the agreement directly with the owner, but some middleman, whatever type of middleman it can be a housing cooperative, or it can be just a setup where the owner is a private person and then they rent it to their own company, or the other way around, or now it's also all these like management companies, then you basically lose all these rights. And even if they decide to kick you out like tomorrow, they can do that. It's not like not specifically like a link to the apartment or to the sublease agreement, but the setup above that. So sublease agreement, if you sign in a sublease agreement, you should be very, very careful. Generally, I would probably not do it, especially if you're a foreigner. As a Czech person, does not really matter. If you're kicked out, okay, you'll probably go to your parents or your friends or something. But if you are a foreigner, that would very much suck if you're kicked out from an apartment like with the day notice. So be very careful of sublease agreements. And number 6, cash payments without receipts. Still happens. It's less and less after COVID. So COVID brought a lot of good changes, I would say. A lot of automatization and all the AI. And from this perspective also, that more landlords accept like transfers and all that. But it's still pretty common that you have to pay some money in cash. So it can be the deposit, or it can be the first month rent plus the deposit, or it can be commission to the real estate agent, all 3 of them, whatever. There is still pretty common practice to get payments in cash. And that's fine. You just need to make sure that it's properly documented. So either it's specifically mentioned in the lease agreement saying on this date, this person paid the first monthly rent in amount of, and by signing this contract, we confirm that, or something like that. There are different like variations of that, but it's mentioned specifically in the lease agreement. And you should get a receipt for the payment. So if it's not specifically mentioned in the lease agreement, you should get a receipt, which says not only like the number or something, because that's useless, it's a piece of paper without no details, but there should be the details of the owner or whomever you pay the money. So it doesn't have to be the owner, it can be the real estate agent or the middleman, whatever. So whom you paid, then your details, like the who paid, then the amount, and then what was it paid for. So like 50,000 crowns, deposit for apartment, ideally with some more details. So based on the contract number or whatever, or for an apartment in Myslíkova Street 7, whatever. But it should have all these details, because sometimes they would only give you like sign some piece of paper, but if there is no details or not enough specific details, that's kind of useless. And the thing is that it does not necessarily need to also go the way that the landlord is trying to scam you at the end and like keep your money, not return deposit or whatever. But let's imagine you lived in the apartment for 3 years. Will you remember if you paid 10,000 or 13,200 or 17,365 crowns 3 years ago for something? Very likely not. And the landlord will not remember that either. And obviously you will say more, the landlord will say less. And if you don't have a receipt, if it's not specifically mentioned what you paid, when, what for, to whom, who you are, so who paid, it's just like your word against theirs, and that's stupid. So yeah, these were the 6 most common rental scams in the Czech Republic. I will share a link to an article which will help you find a place to live in the Czech Republic after I finish the live stream, so find it there. And if you need any assistance with finding accommodation in Czech Republic, get in touch as well, either through, you can go through the link as well, you go to the article and then we have all the contact details there, and forms you can fill in, or DM me or something, or comment, and we'll be happy to help. Let's see if we have any questions regarding this topic, because guys, as you know, I do these free live streams for everyone to join, and I am happy to answer questions just related to the topic. If you have some questions that are not related to the topic, you can become a joiner, and I will be doing another live stream right when I finish this one, and I will be answering any type of questions there. So here I will be happy to answer everything related to the topic, then the rest in the joiners only live streams. So give me a tip about Czech Republic Embassy study visa interview. Yeah, that's not related to this, but I've done a few videos about that. So just go to my channel and search for student interview and you'll find a couple videos. Hi, Ann, thank you for the live stream. Finding accommodation in Prague is one of the hardest things, probably more difficult than finding a job. All tips are appreciated. Well, on one hand, very sorry to hear this or read this. On the other hand, happy that these live streams are helpful, and definitely check the link. It's not there yet, and I will only put it there after the second live stream I'll be doing for joiners only. So maybe in half an hour or something, I'll put it there. So definitely check it, because there we list plenty of tips on how to find apartment, what to be careful about. So that should definitely help as well. Astonish Fly, I want to lease a studio to film exotic movies. Are there any legal issues that can cause trouble for me? What do you mean exotic? Will it be like a mango and papaya there, or will it be like... Well, generally, I can imagine a couple problems with that. First, you are gonna use the apartment for business, and most apartments and most contracts say that you can only use the apartment for living. One thing. So you will already be kind of using the apartment in a different way than what you have a contract for. One thing. Second, very likely someone will hear that if it's not a mango and like papaya thing, but if it's the this kind of exotic movies, then people will hear that, people will complain, and the landlord will find out. Second, also, like, it's not really, I'm not sure about this, but I'm pretty sure as a landlord I would not like my apartment to be shown in porn. Corn. I don't want Facebook to ban me, so corn. And I'm not even sure if you can do that, because you will be basically sharing someone's private property to everyone, and you will be making money out of that. So if the landlord wants to cause you any trouble, get money out of you, which they probably should, because you'll be using the apartment for business, in like, despite what the contract says. So yeah, probably this is what I can say about that. Okay, no more questions about accommodation. If not, then thank you very much, guys, for being here. And if you're interested, I'll be now finishing this live stream, and I will going to do another. I will go in. I've had too many coffee now, and now I'm crashing. So I will be doing another live stream just for joiners, where you can ask me anything, live Q&As right now. So if you're not a joiner yet, become a joiner now, and see you there. And I'll see you here Monday, Thursday, Monday, Thursday, until the end of the world. Good night, guys. Bye.